Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So one of the things that I love about this hobby of ours is the ability to modify, customize, load out your figures, your characters, however you see fit, however you want to. You've seen what I've done, like with a bit of minor kit bashing with the steel core figure. You've probably noticed that throughout my collection, I've mixed and matched some weapons and some gear, swapping weapons between some of the Joes. Something else that I really enjoy doing is getting third-party accessories to enhance a collection that I already have. Now, having said that, I do know that there is a portion of the population of collectors that prefers to be purists about the whole thing, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I know there is a portion of the population that feels this is the figure, this is what they came with, this is how they are presented to us, this is how I will always display it. Or you're an in-box collector, in which case everything is sort of preserved in amber, nothing will ever change. And I understand that, I really do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's room in this hobby for, all kinds of collectors. However, if you are that type of collector, you're probably not going to get much out of this video. I mean, you're more than welcome to stay, but just be aware of what we're getting into. Because what this is a pack of weapons, 1/12 scale weapons from Marauder Gun Runners. It is the first set of weapons that I have picked up. It is scaled for 1/12 figures. They even say it's ideal for things like Marvel Legends or more what we're looking into, Action Force and G.I.Joe. This, and I will leave a link to the Marauder Gun Runners 1/12 page in the description below, but this is this. And you can see it's the Marauder 1/12 Series 1 complete set, 1/12 scale weapons for 6-inch action figures. There are 4 weapons and a whole lot of accessories included here. We have an M4, we have a saw, we have I believe this is a AR that is modified to be like a sniper rifle. And there is another one in here. Hold on, let me scroll down. I forget what exactly it is. We have an EO we have a FO6R assault rifle, we have an M4 assault rifle, we have an MK46 saw, and a SOPMOD sniper rifle. And the sniper rifle and the M4 are really the 2 main reasons I picked this pack up. And we will be taking a look at those probably first once I get this open. Now, something else that I want to address, because I have seen other people open these up, but there is the belief that these are a little small compared to some other weapons, mainly G.I.Joe and Action Force. I don't know. This is the first time I've gotten anything from Marauder Gun Runners. I haven't even actually opened this Ziploc bag yet. I've been waiting to do that for this video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay some weapons out and we're going to do some size comparisons, some side by side, and see what happens. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at some things right here. First of all, this is the M16A2. This came with the retro cardback Scarlet. It also comes with Grunt. However, I don't have Grunt or Mutt because I think Mutt is the other one that this comes with. I don't have either one of those right now, but I do have this. And like I said, this comes with Scarlet. This is the Crimson Guard rifle, and I believe this is supposed to be a bayoneted AR-15. So I am going by, let's just say this right off the top here. I am going by comparisons and photos that I have found online. I have never held or fired any of these. I have held and fired an AK and a first generation, like a Vietnam era M16, but I haven't fired or held any of these right here. So this is an M16A2. I believe this is supposed to be an AR-15. This is Valaverse from Desert Rat. You can see that I broke the barrel off, which I am not happy with, which was a reason why I picked this up in the first place. I wanted the M4 to replace this one for Desert Rat. Now, by Tony's own admission, this is supposed to be a highly modified M4 that he used when he was in the service. This, if you put the barrel on it that's supposed to be there, I think it comes out to be longer than the AR-15, and it's almost the same size as the M16A1. I honestly think from the images I've seen, the comparisons I've seen, that the M4 from Valaverse is actually bigger than what it should be to scale. I think this weapon is too big. And I don't blame them. Like, that's not a dig on Valaverse. I just think that to scale, they upsized this a little. And I kind of get why. So they could put this detail in here, paint the action silver, give you the removable clip, give you the detail in the barrel shroud, the extended stock, things like that. So I get that, and I'm not faulting them for that. This is the Marauder Gun Runner M4 without all of the accessories packed on yet. It doesn't have the scope on there, it doesn't have the forward handle that we can put on, doesn't have a magazine in there. And the stock is collapsed. I feel like this, compared to these two, is the better scale weapon. Now, I'm sure there are viewers out there that will be able to correct me if I'm wrong, and please do. I always want to know. And if anybody does leave a comment down there discussing these, please, viewers, by all means, read those. Let them tell you what I got wrong and what I got right on this. But honestly, images I feel like that I've seen, I feel like the M4 is a much more compact weapon than the M16A2 or the AR-15. So that's where I'm at on the size-wise. I think this is actually closer in scale to what it should be. So with that in mind, that'll give us some idea of how the rest of them scale once we take a look at the others. So in addition to everything that was in that Ziploc baggie, there was also this note in here, and it says, "Thank you for allowing us to gun run for you. Enclosed as an additional free bonus gift." So they put an additional weapon in there, and it's actually really cool. We'll take a look at that towards the end of the video. Also, one thing that I want to mention is, if you do order from them, don't make the same mistake that I did. I put in the order, it sat in pending or it sat in processing for a few days, and I emailed them and was like, "Hey, why is it sitting there? Is there a problem?" And they emailed me back and called me out on something I completely missed. You know how whenever you put an order in and you get the order confirmation email and you just kind of go, "Okay, cool," you look at your order number and then that's really it. Read the email that they send you, because they blatantly tell you that things will sit in processing for 11 days. I have a feeling these are made to order. I don't know if these are 3D printed or if these are injection molded, but I'm guessing they're injection molded maybe, but I'm guessing maybe these are made to order, and that's why it takes so long to sit in processing. So if you do put an order in and it seems like nothing's happening, don't make the same mistake I did. Marauder, if you're watching, I apologize for that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at are these two rifles. This is the M4, this is the 6R. This is a bunch of accessories that comes with it, that comes with the kit that can be used for both of these. Really, it can be used for all of the rifles that came in this set, but I think it's really mainly geared towards these two. This is the magazine for the M4, this is the magazine for the 6Q. Now, one thing that's kind of frustrating, and especially since the M4 is the reason that I got this set in the first place, is that this is supposed to come with a 9mm magazine and a 5.56 magazine. My set did not come with the 5.56 magazine, which is upsetting and a little bit annoying because, like I said, the 5.56 to replace Tunnel Rat's M4 is the main reason I got the set in the first place. So there is that. The other thing, the other magazine that it comes with is this, the 9mm magazine. And this may look wonky at first, but if you had any of the vintage figures, as soon as I plug that in, you know what this is. This is Hit and Run's rifle right there. Remember Hit and Run, the all camo guy? He had an M4 with a 9mm magazine. That's his weapon right there. You put maybe the scope on top of it. Did it have a scope? I can't remember. But that's basically his rifle right there. And that's actually kind of cool because I feel like that is going to... There's a figure that I have that I'll pose him with this once we're done, that I think you'll see the resemblance. Now, something else that you may see is this little nub right here that's in the trigger guard. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but something about these is that instead of having a molded trigger in the trigger guard, you can see it right there, even though it goes out of focus. These have an actual trigger nub right there. And while I appreciate that attention to detail, depending on the figure whose hands you put this in, that might get in the way. And so mine have kind of been breaking, and I'm thinking that I'm just going to cut out a lot of the triggers. We'll have to wait and see as we go down the line, but just so you know, if you happen to see like nubs in there, like this one specifically, I think broke when I was playing around with it, when I was posing it in a figure's hand, that's what that's from. So, because like the finger, like it doesn't, on most of these figures, it doesn't extend far enough and it's not gummy enough to hook onto a trigger that's coming down there, that when I put it in the hand and just twisted it into place, it pretty much pushed out that little trigger guard, or that little trigger piece right there. But this is the reason that I got it. This is the M4. I wanted this to replace Desert Rat. I only have the 9mm magazine. Now, something that is worth showing you, this is a 5.56 magazine from Action Force. It doesn't fit. Okay, so you can't do that. However, something else that I wanted to show you, let me pop this out. This is the 5.56 magazine from the Crimson Guard AR-15. And because of how those are cut, am I putting it in the right way? Yeah. Because of how those are cut, they do fit in there. Maybe not a perfect fit, but they do fit. And to highlight it even more, let me get this out. This is the magazine from the M16, Scarlett's M16A2, that actually fits in there even better. So there is that possibility for compatibility with your Joe weapons, that a lot of the 5.56, I'm using that term loosely, 6 magazines will seem to fit in this. Which, will they fit in the 6Q? Yeah, they will. So there you go. May not be a perfect fit, but they do fit in there. Where did the Crimson Guard one go? There it is. Let's try that. Yeah. Whoops. Okay, that is a little loose. Oop. Still a little loose. Okay, so that one is a little loose, but the one from the M16A2 fits in there real well. So let's pop these out. And we have a magazine for the 6Q. I'm sorry, is that right? 6Q or 6R? Hold on one second. I'm sorry, 6R. We have a magazine for the 6R that fits in there, and it has a nice tight fit to it. Now, all of these accessories, like this is a forward handle. Whoop. This is a forward handle, and you can see it has a very small peg up top. It's a little brittle, but if you take a look at this, you can see there are sockets all along the barrel. There are sockets along the top and along the bottom of the barrel, so that you can actually mix and match and customize these even further to how you want these weapons to play out. So let's put the handle back here. So we have a forward grip on it. We can take this one and put it on the side here. The only issue I have with these is that those pegs feel very delicate. And I think that is a laser sight. So we have a laser sight there. We have a forward handle. And why not? Let's take this last piece and just mount a sight up top. So there you go. What we start with and what we end with is decidedly different, and you can take off or put on as much of this as you want to. So that is the 6R. So basically for the M4, all I wanted to do was put the scope on it and then slap a clip in it, or a magazine in it. And then that was going to replace Desert Rat's M4. But without that magazine, I may just have to order another M4. Because the more I look at this, the more I have an idea of who this is going to go to without the scope on it. And I think I might want to anyway. But this also has like a rounded piece over the scope. It's kind of like the flap is down. The protectors are down, because you can kind of see up top there's a little bit of a hinge maybe. Maybe not. Something else that's worth noting is that because these, I believe, are injection molded, there's no bore for the blast effects. So unless you have blast effects that are small enough, or I'm sorry, large enough to fit over the barrel, none of these are bored out to receive blast effects, plug in blast effects into the barrel. Okay. But that is our 6R. That is our M4. So the next one we're going to take a look at is the compact saw that comes with it. And while I do like the detail work, as a matter of fact, I really like the detail work. I like the paint apps that they put on it. This little bit of silver here, this little bit of silver here in the feed chamber. That kind of surprised me. It was a pleasant surprise. I thought this was just going to be all black. That there is a few issues with this. First and foremost, you can see over here that when you load up your ammo box, the belt doesn't reach high enough to slot into the feed up here. The second thing is you'll notice all of this gunk over here that I need to clean off. Remember just a few moments ago when I said the pegs, the pins on the accessories are very thin and feel very brittle? This broke. That's actually like super glue, Gorilla Glue residue that I have to clean off, because as I was pushing it in, it got really tight and it wasn't seating up in there as far as it could go. So I put it under hot water. I used really hot water. And I got it in there and it still snapped from the pressure. Might have been me, but I also feel like that was too small of a peg and too tight of a fit. And so right now mine is glued in there and I need to clean this gunk off of it. We also have on the barrel, we have these accessory slots, or these accessory sockets right here, so that we can pop in, like let's take this and pull the handle off, so that we can pop in additional accessories for our saw, just like, oh, that doesn't fit very well, does it? There we go. For our saw, just like we did with the other assault rifles. However, there is one accessory specifically for this, and it is this bipod right here that once you plug it in, the bipod doesn't fold, and it doesn't fold in, and it doesn't fold up and down. It's pretty much just there. So we also angle this down. Like there's the bipod. You can see it doesn't sit on its legs very well. So there is that. I don't know what to say. This isn't my favorite piece, not just because of how it broke, but I'm not a fan of the bipod here. I also don't like how the belt doesn't feed into the receiving chamber right here. Honestly, if you ask me, I think out of the three that I have, the best compact saw, ironically enough, is actually Valaverse's. This is the one that comes with my Pandora set, my Pandora upgrade kit. And you can see the belt fits in there very well. You can see the detail work on it. The bipod does flip up and flip down. It's not nearly as delicate. And also, when you pop the ammo box off, you can see there is a nice heavy socket, peg and socket right there, so that it's not going to snap. It sits in there and it stays in there very well. The barrel is a little thin, so be careful of that. That's what snapped on my Desert Rat M4. The other one, my second favorite, would probably be the one that came with Stalker with the G.I.Joe Classified series. So you can see that these two are pretty much comparable. Are pretty much comparable in size. Stalker's is just a little bit smaller, and you can see that this one, the Marauder Gun Runner, is even smaller than those two. Right there. This one is just way too delicate, I feel, and like nothing emphasized that more than that breaking off. And then to have that break off and the belt doesn't even fit in all the way. And I do have this flush up against the body of the weapon as tight as I can. It's not because the peg broke and I super glued it. Like, it's seated in there as tight as it should be. And what we have here is the second reason I bought this set. And it's really up in the air as if I bought it for this or if I bought it for the M4 primarily. But what this is the SOPMOD sniper rifle. Now, from what I looked up, I can use Google too. SOPMOD stands for, I think I'm remembering this correctly, Special Operations Peculiar Modification, which is basically, from what I understand, kitted material or kitted accessories that can go onto the main battle rifle right here. And this is actually a M4A1 carbine, I think it is. And I know it looks bigger than the M4 that we have. As a matter of fact, if we bring this in, it is definitely bigger than the M4 that it comes with. But once again, when I looked up photos online, the carbine is actually bigger than the standard M4. I think this is an M4A1. And it has all of this to turn into a sniper rifle. And sniper rifle, that term is used rather loosely with this. I think it would be closer to being a marksman's rifle. I don't even think there actually is a designation sniper rifle, really. That's a discussion for another time. But the reason I picked this is because this brings up fond memories of a movie that I saw a very long time ago, in which case a assassin takes on an apprentice, and the first rifle that the apprentice uses is, I believe it was actually a modified AR-15. I think it was a modified AR-15 that was turned from like the assault rifle to a sniper rifle / marksman's rifle. You may have seen it. It was a little film called The Professional. Natalie Portman's first movie. I think she was 11 years old. She was the apprentice assassin, and the movie was just a masterpiece. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth looking up and watching. I don't want to tell you anything about it, anything else than what I've already said, because it is a fantastic journey. But all of this stacks onto the rifle and turns it into a sniper rifle. And when I saw that, it reminded me of that, and that's why I picked this up. And I also have somebody very specific. There's the barrel shroud that extends the barrel. I have somebody very specific that I'm going to be giving this to in my collection. Oh. The magazine pops in like so. Now, just like with the... Let's angle this out a little. Just like with the saw, the bipod does not collapse, but I think it works better, especially with like this modified grip right here, that it works better and it looks better. Now the scope right here, I kind of dig because I like how they have the flaps up, and they actually talk about the flaps in The Professional too, how, you know, wait till the last minute, otherwise it's going to get reflection off of the scope. So good. The movie was so good. And there's two places on here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. There's a spot right here at back, and there's a spot right up here at the front of the barrel. I feel like this is too far forward and this is too close. I feel like the sweet spot should be right about in there. But you can see that this has 3 pegs and they are not evenly spaced. These back two are closer, or the middle one and the back one is closer than the middle one and the front one. And the sockets are set up that way too. So you know which way it's supposed to go on. And it's supposed to go on this way. But the problem is that the front and back pegs don't want to sit flush in there. Actually, I think I have that on backwards anyway. I think it's supposed to go, yeah, there we go. So the back peg goes in, the front peg stands off a little bit, but there we go. Now, if we put it to the front of the barrel, so it sits flush at the very front of the barrel, but that's too heavy. That's way too heavy. That's putting too much weight out to the front of the barrel. Yeah. Now it should be back here where you're supporting it. And then there's our bipod. Now also you can see the trigger right here, how the trigger comes forward a little bit. That might be an issue putting it in the recipient's hands. And who might be getting this, you ask? Rise to the sun with 7 wishes. Will you turn into stone with 7 wishes? That's right. I'm putting it with Shooter because honestly, this is the weapon that comes with Shooter. And if you remember, if you remember from my review of Shooter when I first got her, let me put this back in. If you remember of my review of Shooter when I first got her, I was not a fan of this rifle. One, the barrel is way too gummy. I know the G.I. Joe weapons are gummy to begin with, but the barrel on this is just way too gummy. Mainly, I was really upset that there's no bipod to it. It's a sniper rifle with no bipod. I really feel like this is supposed to be the 50 cal sniper rifle, but it looks more like something that came out of Halo. I just don't like this. Like, it looks ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I feel like this is a much better weapon for her to be using rather than that gigantic monstrosity. Now, the other weapon we have is this pistol, and that's really all it is a pistol. There's no modifying it. There's no kit bashing it. There's no sockets to add anything to it. It's just a pistol, which is cool. I like it. But once again, take a look at that trigger. You can imagine that that's going to cause problems trying to put it into like a Joe or a Action Force figure's hand, that I'm pretty sure that trigger is just going to end up getting knocked out of there. Now, the last piece that we're going to take a look at is the bonus piece that they put in the set, and it is this Tomahawk. And look at this beautiful thing. This is fantastic. Molded in this silver, the blue grip right there. You have like the little handle, or you have the hole in the pommel that like you could thread like a lanyard through or something if this was like real. This looks fantastic. This may be my favorite looking piece of the whole set, and it's the one that I wasn't supposed to get. And the other thing that I really like about this is it comes with a sheath. It comes with a Tomahawk sheath that it just goes in from the top. The handle comes out the bottom, and it just settles right in there. Look at that, probably an M for Marauder. And it matches the handle. And there is a peg on this side that, where did he go, will actually fit onto the belt of the Joe figures. This is the 60th anniversary Action Infantry figure that we just took a look at. He has these sockets right here on his belt. Now, they don't fit on the vest pieces. The peg's too small, the sockets are too big to fit on the actual vest pieces. However, it does fit on the belt. That's cool. That's real cool. So any of the Joe figures or any, like, I don't know if Valaverse has any figures that have socketed belts like that, but it fits on there real well. It will fit on the back one too, but the problem with the back one is whenever I push this in, it's not falling out nearly as easily as it did before. That because of this pouch pushing it out, the first time I tried this, it didn't really seem to seat in there very well. But now it fits in there. So this is cool. Marauder. Or Rampage, rather, may actually get a Tomahawk to add to his kit now. Why not? Just because. I don't care if it doesn't color match. It's cool. It looks great. So for what it's worth, I don't think these are too small. I actually think these are scaled just right. I know a lot of people thought that they were too small compared to the Joe and Valaverse weapons. I think they fit just perfectly fine for the figures, for the scale. I really like the way these look in figures' hands. I also really like the modular nature of the whole setup. I like how between the 6R and the M4, you were able to swap pieces back and forth. You could make them look however you wanted them to look. You could kit them out as much as you wanted to, or you could strip them down as much as you wanted to. Despite not getting the 5.56 magazine for the M4, I really like that 9mm magazine. I really like how it's kind of a throwback to Hit and Run's rifle. I think that looks really cool. The triggers in the trigger guard, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the attention to detail. I truly do. But those are really going to get in the way. And like you saw, a couple of them have broken already just from playing around with them. I'm probably going to end up taking them out of the ones that they're left in right now because they do get in the way. And especially for shooter, I feel like that if the trigger wasn't there, it would still fit in the carry pack that she has for her sniper rifle. So you'd still be able to sort of quote unquote strap it to her back. Now, having said all of that, they are fairly fragile. I saw that with the saw, and even when I'm swapping back and forth between like the SOPMOD rifle, the M4, and the 6R, I'm being very delicate with these pieces. These are definitely show pieces. These are meant to be put together and then put in the hands of your figures, and then they pretty much don't move. You're not going to be constantly swapping parts back and forth. It's pretty much you put it together, you put it in a pose, and it stays there. Because the peg and socket system that is used in this is very delicate. And even when I'm doing something as simple as putting on a scope, I'm being very careful as to what I'm doing. You saw what happened with the ammo box on the saw. It was so delicate that like even after I put the super glue on it, you may notice there's no photos of the saw here at the end. That's because even when I tried to put it into Stalker's hands, because there wasn't a whole lot of surface area where the Gorilla Glue was able to connect, it still ended up breaking off anyway. I don't know if I would rely on these to fully kit out my Joe and Valaverse Action Force figures because of how delicate it is, because I'm somebody that likes to sort of play with my toys, and I feel like these aren't meant for that. They do look cool though. They look really cool. I really dig that SOPMOD in Shooter's hands. I do think I'm going to have to do a little bit of modification to the sniper scope so that it sits to the body of the rifle a little bit better. But other than that, I think that just looks really cool, and I really think that is pretty much the rifle that I've been looking for her. And I do have to say, that Tomahawk that they gave me as sort of the freebie, that's just like totally stands out. I think that is awesome. I think that is a beautiful piece. I may not get more ranged weapons for my 1/12 scale figures from them, but I may also get some more Tomahawks and check out their melee weapons like their knives and things like that just because of how good that Tomahawk looks. Hello, please hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Many thanks to those of you that already are. Leave us a comment down below letting us know what you think about today's video. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow and it's within your means, please consider becoming a channel member either through YouTube or Coffee Page subscriptions. Members get access to exclusive perks, including the monthly members only video. This month it is the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Hiss Techno Viper and HMS system. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.